Hey, welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome. I am Jane, and at the ripe age of 44, I am on a journey this year to figure out what I actually want to do with my life. In my last video, aka my very first YouTube video, I talked about how I've never really felt a strong sense of purpose. Some people just seem to know exactly what they want to do, but I've never been one of those people. I've tried different careers, different creative projects, even lived in different countries, but I still don't feel like I've landed on that one thing that makes me go, yes, this is it. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. I feel like there's a lot of us that have this pressure to have a big, clear sense of direction. Like we're supposed to just wake up one day and know what we're meant to do. And if we don't, we assume that we're doing something wrong somehow. So, the question I've been thinking about lately is how do you even figure out what you want? Because that's where I am right now. I know that I want to explore, I want to try new things, but where do you even start when you don't have a clear direction? So, I started doing some research and I came across a book about a Japanese concept called ikigai, and that's described as your reason for being. It's this idea that fulfillment comes from the intersection of four different things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be rewarded or paid for. And I actually found it to be a really helpful way to reflect on what excites me. One of the things that the book suggests is looking back at childhood, before all the expectations of adulthood set in, and before we worried about whether we were good at something, or if it was practical, or if we could make money. And when I did that, I realized that I've always loved making things. I'm definitely not an artist, but I do love making things. As a teenager in New Zealand, I used to make jewelry and sell it at a local market. I had entered a small local competition where I'd won a $100 voucher to the best bead and jewelry making supply shop in town. And back in the day, that was enough to get all of the supplies I needed to really go wild and make a bunch of different stuff. It sparked my creativity because I wasn't worried about the money that I was spending. Although looking back, I guess it was kind of investing in my business, but I just went for it. Because I didn't need to make a return on my investment, I wasn't worried about making a ton of money, although that was a bonus, but it was just fun. I loved creating something with my hands and seeing people appreciate it enough to buy it. I also roped my best friend into it, and it became something that we did on weekends and in our free time just for fun. So I started wondering, is that something that I should try again? It led me down this big rabbit hole of thinking about selling at a local market. I even started making some new jewelry, looking into different markets near me, and imagining what it would be like to actually do it. I did find a local Mother's Day market that's super popular, and I kept going back and forth about signing up for it. But something was holding me back. At one point, I even sat down with my husband to talk it through, and I remember saying, I can't tell if I'm looking for encouragement to do it or permission not to do it. And that was kind of a red flag for me, because if I really wanted to do it, wouldn't I just do it? The more I thought about it, the more I realized that maybe this wasn't actually what I wanted, at least not in the way I initially thought. The market was going to cost $150 just to have a stall. And I knew that if I didn't at least make that much back and more, then I would feel disappointed. Even though I enjoy making the jewelry and even if the market itself was fun, I'd still feel like it was a failure. And that's when I realized that I don't want to attach a final outcome to everything that I try. Because when I do that, the stakes feel too high. If something doesn't make money, it feels like a waste of time. And I don't want to only do things that feel productive. I want to do things because they interest me, because they make me curious, because I just want to. So in the end, I decided not to do the market. Not because I was scared or because I thought I wouldn't succeed, but because I don't want to define my success by whether or not I can make money from something. And I think part of the reason I've struggled to figure out what I want is because it often feels like whatever I choose, it has to be the right thing. Like if I commit to something, that's it. It needs to be a career path or a side hustle or something that I could stick with long term. But the truth is that that mindset has actually stopped me from doing so many things that I might enjoy. Because if I try something and it doesn't immediately seem like a smart investment of my time or money or energy, then I second guess it. I overanalyze it. I think, well, what's the point? Is this going to be worth it? Am I just going to spend a bunch of money? And then I just don't do it at all. But I used to think also that if I thought hard enough, then I'd eventually figure out what I wanted. The more I've been reflecting on this, the more I think that's not how it works. Maybe the only way to actually figure out what you want is to do things, to experiment, to pay attention to what feels good, and to let go of the idea that it all has to make sense immediately. What if the point isn't to make money, or even to be good at something? What if the point is just to enjoy it? That's something I'm trying to unlearn, that not everything I try has to be productive, and that even if I walk away from something thinking, okay, that's not for me, it still wasn't a waste of time. So instead of trying to pick one big thing to focus on, I'm going to start trying some small things that interest me, even if I have no idea whether they'll lead anywhere. I'm also starting to realize that that's maybe just life. Like maybe we never truly arrive at a single big purpose. Maybe we're constantly evolving, learning, trying new things, and just seeing what fits. So instead of asking, what's my purpose or what do I want to do with my life, I'm going to focus on some other questions like, what do I actually enjoy doing? What am I curious about? And what do I find myself coming back to, even when there's no reward or money attached? The whole point is to try things without the pressure of being good at them or needing them to lead anywhere. Because I think when we take the pressure off, we give ourselves the space to actually enjoy things and to see where they naturally lead. So that's where I'm at right now, just giving myself permission to try things, to decide not to do things like markets, to explore and to let go of the idea that I need a perfect, well defined path. Just figuring out what things I naturally enjoy and what sparks my interest without immediately turning it into a thing. And by the way, I do not know what that is yet. We're a week in, I'm still completely lost, but maybe I'll continue to explore the jewelry stuff without a market attached. Maybe I won't. If you've ever struggled with figuring out what you want, I would love to know how you approached it. Or even if you're still figuring it out, like me, I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you're interested in following along as I stumble my way through this process, feel free to subscribe. I am not sure what's coming next, but I guess we'll find out together. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.